thought you shared a really compelling story about why are you doing this? You went to Harvard Law School, you're in private practice. I'm sure you were doing really, really well. And you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go run for the attorney general's
Yeah.
spot. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. In a lot of ways, as you allude to, it didn't make sense for us. I'm married. I've got 3 little daughters. They're 7, 3, and 1. My wife and I haven't slept in about 4 years. I was in private practice, was in a comfortable spot there. But my wife and I just felt like we had to step forward, starting with the extraordinary violent crime in Minnesota. And we have an attorney general who's just as extreme as they come, who backed defunding the police. And the violent crime has touched my own family. My sister lives in North Minneapolis, which is a tougher part of town. And she woke up one morning, was sitting down to her breakfast table, and heard gunshots outside her home. A man had careened his car into her yard. He had been on a chase with police and was shooting out his back windows at police. And police, of course, were returning fire. The police had to rush into my sister's home, rush her out to avoid a stray bullet hitting her. Ultimately, there were multiple bullet holes in my sister's home. I still remember her calling me crying that morning, and meeting that night with the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension at her home. She had to stay at our house for a few nights. She just didn't feel safe in her own home, and that's representative of the violence in much of the metro right now, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and surrounding suburbs. And unfortunately, it's bled out to the greater Minnesota as well. And it's because, and I tell people, it didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way. It's a man-made disaster. Because we got embraced policies like defunding the police, like no bail policies, things like that have failed to hold accountable violent criminals. And we're seeing the results. It's an absolute disgrace.
Where does your sister live?
She lives in North Minneapolis. Just
so it's not like right by the 3rd precinct.
No. That's right. Exactly. Just it's not right by the 3rd precinct or anything. It's just another area. Tougher part of town, but that sort of violence has been present in lots of parts of Minneapolis right now. And we have to turn it around. I mean, you hear the stats sometimes. There were 750 carjackings in Minneapolis last year, many more in St. Paul and the suburbs. And it's important to remember that these aren't just stats. These are real people's lives who have been damaged. In some cases, people's lives taken. That's